2021, our Bryant McFadden put together a list for us. College football need-to-know players, the 20 most underrated draft prospects. Looking back, he did a pretty good job highlighting players like Brian Robinson Jr., Isaiah Likely, Khalil Shakir, Joey Porter Jr., Trent McDuffie. Oh, and a player named Michael Penix Jr., just to name a few. Now, BMAC bringing to light these players who weren't everyday names at the time, giving them some love that they deserved. Everyone on that list getting an opportunity almost at the next level. Looking at players like Penix Jr., a guy that clearly playing at the next level. The Falcons decided not to play Penix Jr. in the second and third preseason games after he played 5 series in the first one. Coach Raheem Morris said that he knows he's seen enough from Penix Jr. that they don't need to see him anymore in the preseason. Interesting, since he's not technically the starter, but I digress. What's important here is that he showcased his ability. Atlanta's happy with their 8th overall pick, and that brings us to this year's list. The 2024 need-to-know list, the top 20 underrated NFL draft prospects in college football. A list put together by our BMAC, once again, with the help of our 24/7 Sports college football writer, Matt Zenitz. Players like Houston's quarterback, Donovan Smith, Utah State's wide receiver, and Jaylen Royals, Penn State DB, KJ Winston. These are all players that we all need to keep our eyes out for this season. Let's welcome in our list makers. So Bryant McFadden, Matt Zenitz joining us now. We're going to start with number 20. And Houston quarterback, okay? We have Donovan Smith there, 6'5", listed at 240. He's got mobility. BMAC, what do you like about him? Why'd he make the list?
I love Donovan's arm. He has a big-time arm. You talked about his measurables. He's 6'5", extremely athletic. He's a dual-threat player, but he relies more so of doing a lot of damage from the pocket with the ability to run if need be. He's very, very on point when it comes to his accuracy. A year ago, he finished 3rd in the Big 12 when it came to completion percentage. I see him increase and improving when it comes to that element of his ball game. And he's a guy that's very, very efficient. And the thing I love about Donovan, outside of his individual skill sets, he does a great job making the other guys around him look better. And that's what good quarterbacks do on any level. When you have a good quarterback, the other guys that are surrounding them usually play better football because he is him when it comes to being a quarterback for his said team. So Donovan has an opportunity to really open a lot of eyes this season when it comes to his draft potential and the type of player he can be on the next level. And you will get an early test for Donovan when you look at Week 3 matchup against OU. Formerly of the Big 12, now in the SEC. But when you talk about Houston playing against Oklahoma Week 3, that's an early test for Donovan to really showcase what type of player he can be for Houston. And of course, when we look at his draft potential.
That one's going to be circled for sure. All right, we are looking at wide receiver Jaylen Lane out of Virginia Tech next. Lane coming off a strong year. He led the team in receptions, ranking 2nd in receiving yards. Matt, why did he make the need to know list? That's kind of hard to say. I got it there, though.
Did a good job bouncing back. So when you talk about the ACC, I feel like everybody focuses for the most part on teams like Clemson, Florida State, Miami. But in conversations with people in the NFL scouting world during the course of the last couple of months, there's a legitimate chance that come next April that there may not be a team in the ACC with more draft picks than Virginia Tech. And Jaylen Lane, out of a group that could be as many as 8-ish, close to 10 players to get drafted, Jaylen is the top prospect from Virginia Tech heading into the year. There are scouts I've talked to, including one Northeast area scout, who have referred to him as one of their players coming back overall in that region, and someone who's part of an offense there with a quarterback who's very much on the NFL draft radar in Kyron Drones, another receiver who has a chance to go in the first few rounds in Daquan Felton. He's one who not only adds a big play component to that offense, but there are definitely some people in the NFL scouting world that believe he has a legitimate chance to go in the first 2 rounds, that he is that talented.
We'll be watching Jaylen Lane playing at Lane Stadium. A little namesake action right there for him. We're going to stick with receivers next, and another Jaylen, actually. This one's spelled a little different. Jaylen Royals from Utah State. Last season, he earned first-team All-Mountain West honors, started all 13 games, finished the year with 71 receptions, over 1,000 yards, a school record 15 touchdowns. Matt, what do you like about Royals?
Well, clearly, B-Mac and I love guys with the name Jaylen at wide receiver, obviously. But the only receiver who finished last year with more touchdown catches nationally than Jaylen Royals was first-round draft pick Brian Thomas. And for me, the skill sets are different, but it reminds me a little bit with Jaylen of Malachi Corley last year. So Malachi is somebody who obviously ended up going early in this past NFL draft. And I remember going back to last year, there were some NFL scouts bringing him up, going back to last summer, as someone who was very much on the radar to the point that he had a legitimate chance to go in the first couple rounds of the draft. And that has been the case with Jaylen Royals also. So I know just being on top of the transfer portal and having to keep up with that as much as I do, that there were a lot of teams around the country that were hoping that he ultimately left Utah State, hit the portal, and that they would have an opportunity at him as a free agent. But ultimately, he stays put at Utah State and will be dependent on big time to help them bounce back from some of the offseason adversity that they've had with their head coach, Blake Anderson, being fired. But an extremely talented player that I think more and more throughout the course of the year, people on the national level will become familiar with.
You got to appreciate a player that stays put. All right, we're going to keep it on the offensive side and moving out to the West Coast now. Another J name, running back Jaden Allen out of Cal. All Pac-12 last season, made quite the name for himself. B-Mac, why did he make your list?
Talented, very, very talented. The thing about Jaden Allen, you talked about making all Pac-12 a year ago, had over 1,200 yards rushing. But nationally, I don't think he's receiving the respect that he's deserving of receiving. It is a very, very heavy, deep running back class for potential NFL pros. When you talk to a lot of individuals that are tied into college sports, football, and of course the NFL, they don't really throw his name into the conversation. But when you turn his tape on, you have no other choice but to talk about Jaden Allen. He's a one-cut runner, very, very explosive. He's super patient, and he's a big play waiting to happen anytime he potentially touches the football, as you see there on those few highlights. And the thing about Cal, when you look at the here and now, you kind of forget about once upon a time, Cal was a big-time running back factory in college football and producing pros. J.J. Arrington, Marshawn Lynch, Javed Best, Justin Forsett, guys that played outstanding football while at Cal in the backfield, went on to have pretty good NFL careers as well. I believe Jaden Allen is the next one up within their football program. But this season, I believe he will become a household name more so than what he currently has, of formerly being a part of the Pac-12.
All right, B-Mac, I know you're going to like this. We're going to give the defense some love now. Going to the Big Ten. DB KJ Winston from Penn State, true freshman 2022. He played 12 games, 16 tackles. As a sophomore, started 13 games, 61 tackles, an interception. B-Mac, what do you want to see from him this junior year?
Just keep doing what you've been doing, KJ. Don't change anything. Granted, Jenny, he's changed his number. He was 21. I think he changed it to 2. I'm okay with that. It kind of enhances the swag when it comes to the numerical order. But don't change anything. When I watch KJ, and I watched him so much because I was just a fan, it was almost like instead of me analyzing and assessing who he is as a player, I became a fan just watching him because he is that guy on the defensive side. He's very, very explosive in regards to standing flat-footed, going 0 to 60 to get to the ball carrier. He's very, very instinctive. He's a tackling machine. Get this, he only missed 2% of his tackles a year ago. He's a sure-handed guy. He can dissect things before they happen based on the pre-snap alignment of the offenses he's going against. Watch his tape against Michigan a year ago. Just watch how he's able to dissect things before they actually happen, to put himself in positions to make big-time NFL-like plays. And I'll say this, and I don't say this casually, I'm saying this with all the honest intent from what I've seen. When I watch KJ, he reminds me of a taller Bob Sanders. And I'm saying this with a clear mind. When you talk about the aggressive mentality, the ability to go 0 to 60 to get to the football, and he never misses tackles, I mean, he has a bright future in front of him starting this season for Penn State in 2024.
Got a little bone to pick with you. Our next guy, Azareye'h Thomas out of Florida State. I was kind of looking over a rundown, and I'm like, okay, obviously BMAC picked this guy, but no, Matt did. BMAC, what about your Florida State guy? You're just not going to give any love?
No. When me and Matt was talking about different prospects, of course AZ was going to make the list. And when Matt mentioned his name, when we talked about him, I'm like, you already know he was going to be on this list regardless. If we had to make an extra spot to make it 21 instead of the need to know 20, AZ was going to be on the list. And oh, by the way, AZ is rocking, I don't know if you guys can see the number 8, the Florida State.
Oh, yeah.
He changed from 20 to 8. And as Matt known, we talked about it, the last few corners that wore number 8 for Florida State, Jenny, they all got drafted. So no pressure, AZ. Whenever you see this, no pressure. No pressure at all.
No pressure. All right, and Matt, I want to ask you about him. Reports from camp are saying that he took a major leap in spring practice. What sticks out about his play? Why did he make the list?
Well, what led to me bringing him up with BMAC when we first started working through this was some unprompted feedback that I got from the Florida State camp this summer, where I had somebody on staff bring up that if there's anyone individually that you need to be paying attention to this year, it's Azareye'h Thomas, that not only see him in line for a breakout season, but potentially an All-American type year.
That number 8, circle it. Put him in the draft. He's already in there. You just had to have the right jersey on, that's for sure. Bryant McFadden, Matt Zenitz with some players to keep an eye on this college football season. Will we see them on future draft boards? That's the question. For more, check out 24/7 Sports. It's the industry leader in recruiting content with a network of team sites devoted to college sports.